Welcome to a special TransMissions podcast interview episode. I'm here with Richard Jackson and Chris Thompson from HeroCollector, Eaglemoss HeroCollector, and they're here to talk about this new Kickstarter project they've just started with a Transformers G1 chess set. This is an awesome set. We've talked about it on TransMissions when it was first announced, and they've also gotten a coveted spot on the big broadcast of 2021, the TF Nation online convention a couple of weeks ago, and it's just a really cool project. So we wanted to talk to you guys about how this project came about and get some more details. So first off, I do want to ask, are you guys really big Transformers fans, or is this something that came about naturally? And how did you get involved with getting Eaglemoss HeroCollector involved with Hasbro to get this done?
Well, I guess Rich can probably talk a little bit about the Hasbro Connection and how that came about. In terms of history, yeah, I guess particularly this being the G1 version of Transformers, that is sort of my era and was my entry point. So as a kid growing up in the 80s, I used to watch the cartoon, and it very much became kind of appointment television for me on a Saturday morning. You know, I had to tune in and find out what was happening. I knew I couldn't really miss any. And like everyone from that time, I was then traumatized by the film. So yeah, very much it was sort of part of my childhood. A little bit with the toys, although we never got sort of all the ones I wanted. And then when I was an adult, I was able to get some more and finally have the ones I'd missed. And today I still read the comics. So yeah, I guess Transformers has been a part of my life for, as long as I can remember.
Awesome.
Yeah, sort of very similar for me in terms of as an 80s kid growing up in the 80s, and Transformers was everywhere. It's what I loved. It's what I grew up with, watching the cartoon. Probably not as studious as Chris, it sounds like. Whenever it was on, I was watching it. I probably watched them totally out of order. You're a 6-year-old, maybe probably up to 12 watching these things on reruns on British TV, and you get what you get. So you watch the episodes and you enjoy it, and then maybe next episode it's totally different storyline. But yeah, grew up on all of those and collecting the toys somewhat, because in my household, the toys were the premium toy to have. So you maybe got one Transformer at Christmas, maybe one at your birthday, because they were the more complicated, often the more expensive ones if you wanted the big sort of Optimus Prime or, some of the really cool models. So those were sort of the premium ones that my brother and I used to fight over. And then, yeah, that's sort of how I've started out with Transformers, and I think I've kept on top of it a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't say I was one of these absolute diehard fans. I'll admit that, but I loved the Dreamwave series of comics when they came back and redid, sort of almost looking at that Gen 1 style again. I've seen a few of the modern movies. They're not. My love is with the cartoon, is with the original animation, the original toys more than anything. So that's where I've started from. And then really this project has been a dream, because it's been able to sort of bring that back, that nostalgic element from the bit from your childhood that everyone wants to grow up and own the toys that they couldn't have when they were kids. So, that's how I look at it. And I've had that opportunity with Hasbro and with HeroCollector now to sort of dive back into the world of Transformers once again, after sort of probably not paying too much attention to some of the more modern animation series and the stuff that's on Netflix and things, and really go back to my roots and back to the cartoon series, the animated series that I loved. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So HeroCollector has done a lot of different premium collectibles and different figurines and things, and you've done previous chess sets in the past. So how did this project come about, and how was it working with Hasbro and getting this licensed?
Yeah, it's been really good. We've worked with Hasbro for a number of years on lots of different properties. Probably no one else would really care, but we've done like My Little Pony stuff for kids, with like the sort of magazines you would get in your newsagents or your shops, where you get the free pencils and the gifts and things. The kids color it in and they get stickers. So we've got a good relationship with Hasbro, working through lots of things like that. And then really we went to them with, what can we do with Transformers? We do figurines. It's not something that traditionally you get a lot of with Transformers, because you have toys that transform and figurines obviously are static. So it's sort of a little bit oh, well, they don't transform. Are they Transformers anymore? So we were sort of backwards and forwards with Hasbro on that. And then one of their creatives was just saw everything we've done, like you say, all of the chess sets, and went, well, this is what it is, guys. It's a chess set. That's what we've got to do. This is the greatest battle ever in the history of the universe. It's been going on for millions of years. Autobots versus Decepticons. You know, this is it. This is what we have to do. It makes just so much sense. So that's where it began. And Hasbro were on board from the beginning, and they're the ones who have really sort of been I wouldn't say holding our hands, but they're the ones who have helped lead the way with it. They've been really keen to work with us from a creative point of view, from the elements of like, from what characters we choose to how they should look, the sizes, you know, everything that we've wanted to do. So it's taken our previous chess collections and sort of tweaked them a bit to work more with Transformers. They're a bit different. They're a little bit bigger in some cases because the robots, you know, the Transformer characters are a little bit bigger. You want them to feel a bit more impressive than some of the human characters or the hobbits from Lord of the Rings, for example, that we've done. So that's where we started with Hasbro, and that's how the project began. It's been sort of sitting around, or not sitting around really, but actively being worked on in the background for about 18 months now. As you can imagine, that sort of rings for about the time we've been having this problem with the pandemic and everything that's been going on. So that hasn't helped. It's not an excuse for it being taking this long, but it's part of it. And I think it's helped sort of refine what we wanted to do and helped us work with Hasbro to come up with something that I think is really cool. And I hope others do as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it does look like it's a massive set. Like I've seen a couple of the YouTube videos where folks have gotten some of the advanced pieces and just showing the size of these figures, like particularly the Optimus Prime figure. And I mean, this could be like just a statue or collectible figurine for just that you could put on your shelf. And the fact that it's a complete chess set with 32 pieces, 32 individual pieces, it seems like a very large undertaking.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that not everyone takes into account as well. Like, it is a hefty price point. I don't think we're shying away from that for the set. But when you think that it is those 32 unique individual pieces, no pawn or character is alike, it actually breaks down as being a really reasonable amount per figurine. It's I don't know, under $20 each, like well under, and that's then you're getting the book and the board on top of that for free, essentially. And if you look at it that way, it's not such a scary proposition. It's more like, okay, I'm getting 32 figurines all at once, plus this other goodies. So yeah, you're sort of paying for that at the time. I think the other thing, and if you've seen the people sort of showing off their Optimus in the videos, you really, once you've got them in hand, you get an idea of the heft of them. Like, they're really weighty. They're not going to give you RSI if you're playing chess. You're going to be able to survive, but there's value in it. You can actually feel it. It is a premium product in the same way as Rich said, Transformers was for him as a kid. They were always a premium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask if Rich had any of his there to sort of.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I mean, I've got quite a few samples here, that I could show in hand. So You've got your Optimus and your Megatron. There we go. So I think they're sort of quite nice. The sort of face off between them, the size, they feel sort of really nice, real sort of weighty the way they go together. We've also got, things like Soundwave kicking about, and what else have I got? A hot rod as well. So I get quite a lot of the prototypes in. So a lot of these are not quite as finished as maybe what you would see in our videos and things, because these are ones we've been developing for a few years. So there might be things that someone spots and we go, yeah, we're thinking about that, we're changing that. A good example is Starscream, which it's probably really hard to see, but on this one you can see he's got a little bit of a black nose, and that's just something we're changing. We know that's not, he shouldn't have a black nose. So, you know, that's one of those things that the prototypes that I have kicking about, you know, I have the privilege of having hundreds of items in my house because we're all still working from home. So, yeah, I've got quite a few different bits and pieces, but I think you can see, you know, the sort of the heft, hopefully you can see the size and how we structured them. And I think stuff that you don't really see from maybe so much on the Kickstarter are things like the difference in the bases that we've gone for, where the pawns, they all sort of come on these shallower bases, so you know they're pawns, and it gives them sort of a height differential between the back row to really sort of make it feel like you've got, you know, a proper chess set with proper characters sort of displayed well, you know, so that they can all go next to each other and fit, and they look good. And yeah, it's sort of all about that. It's about sort of making sure we've got something that we feel works and tweaking it where we can to, you know, match up sizes and, you know, get the colors exactly right, because there's a lot of differences in the animation from the one cell to the next, one scene, one episode. You might have a character suddenly change, and it's just a little bit of you know, animation difference where a bit of leg changes to a slightly different color. So we're working with Hasbro to sort of try and pin down the exact Pantones, the exact paints that these things should be, and yeah, get them right. I mean, yeah, I think we're doing a good job so far, and I think we've got, you know, some of the stuff ready to sort of improve and have a look at. But yeah, they're nice, solid pieces. They're really good.
Yeah, I love the detail on Soundwave where he's reaching over to push the eject button, about to eject one of his minions. So that's a great little touch there.
yeah, and of course we've got a couple of the minions, as you say, are the pawn pieces. So we've got a Ravage, and so I quite like the idea of, obviously you can set them up kind of the pawns however you want on a chessboard, but you could have that just in front of him, so it is like he's either just ejected it, and it's, you know, it's kind of fun. Yeah.
When you were holding up your Optimus and Megatron before, it was reminding me of when we filmed the Kickstarter video. And for anyone that's seen it, I was trying to have a bit of fun, and I thought, oh, I'll get a bit playful. So I tried to do this thing of them fighting, had one in each hand, and I was like, oh, fun at the end. But yeah, you've done a good job of it. When I did it, they just look like they're making out. So like,
oh no,
use this. But I was like, maybe if we ever do a blooper reel just for fun, we'll whack that on the end. But yeah, it totally looks like they're making out. So I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, thanks, Chris. That's ruined it for me as well, and everyone else. But you know,
you're welcome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, looking at your Kickstarter page, and I see it's gotten off to a good start. So I'm hoping you guys are successful. So you've still got about a month to go. You've got about I guess like you have a $300,000 goal. You're at about it looks like close to $80,000 now. So yeah, so hopefully things will keep progressing there, and you'll make it to the goal. I wanted to ask. So you mentioned a couple of things that are going to be included. The art book that you know, that it mentions in the Kickstarter package, and it describes like giving some individual character bios and talks about their maybe some key episodes they were in. So can you tell me a little bit more? I'm kind of a big Transformers lore guy, so I'm interested to hear what's going into this book.
It's a little bit early sort of days for us on the book. So we've so what I've done is we're going to focus on every single character that we're putting onto the chess set. That's kind of how we do. If you've ever seen any of our previous products, figurines and chess sets, we normally have a magazine, so a much smaller sort of print magazine that talks about the character's history, like you say, maybe their powers. If it's something like, you know, a DC or a Marvel character, we talk about their abilities and their powers and all of that sort of thing. So for Transformers, we want to focus on the characters we're putting in the set and what they did in the animation, you know, in the actual proper, all the series and the movie, but we're not going to look at multiple iterations of the characters. We're not going to start talking about Megatron from, the most recent movies, the CG movies, the big Michael Bay movies. We're not going to start focusing on those. We're going to keep it all animation. And the idea is each character gets a few pages to talk about, like you said, their lore, their history, and their episode they're from. The episode they're from. Some of the best episodes, in our opinion, in Hasbro's opinion, that they appeared in. We're sort of very early stage at that. So we're working with Hasbro, and we haven't quite. We want to get some Transformers experts on board to work with us, because we do all of our editorial in-house normally. But I think with something like Transformers, it's really key you get that absolute authentic voice. And so someone like you hopefully won't sit there and go, "You got that wrong, guys. He didn't do that in that episode." So that's the key part for us. And we're working with Hasbro and their creative team. They've suggested a bunch of editors and writers who can help us, and we're hoping to get those on board to really sit down and work it out. At the moment, we're at the flat plan. We've mapped it all out. I've got all the characters on the page ready to go. The key for us is we want to show as much as we can from the animation. So that's difficult, because I think as probably anyone watching this knows, there's not a lot of, it hasn't been released in high definition properly. There's not a lot of official releases for the animation as it stands at the moment. So that we're working with Hasbro to try and get the best files we can, so we can show the best screenshots we can from each episode. We can show the characters in their best light. We're going to be using every one of our lovely sculpts, which have been developed obviously with Hasbro. They're all digital sculpts. So for us, we've got them, and you can see that on our Kickstarter page. We've colored them up. We've got one of our digital 3D artists, a lovely guy called Adex Costa, who is just amazing at what he does. And he's going to be producing some lovely shots of those, so we can have a few images of that to sit on the page to look really nice and work alongside everything else. But it's yes, early progress on that one. The figurines always take a lot longer to make, so we're always pushing getting the physical 3Ds and physical masters of those figurines done first.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
So I know it's still early stages for the book, but was there any thought of making that a separate Kickstarter reward as well? I think there would be some people who would be interested in getting that, like the same way you separated out getting one of the Optimus Prime figurines as a lower Kickstarter reward.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think this is our first Kickstarter, so we've kept things a little bit simpler than maybe some other Kickstarters do. We're trying to sort of really focus on the chess side of it and the figurines. The honest answer is also that's part of our working with Hasbro, and the license we have is for a chess set and is for these figurines. So a book on its own is a possibility, but it's also something that they produce books with other people. IDW do a lot of books, so it's one of those things where, as a separate item, it's a bit more difficult to do. So that's kind of why at the moment we've left it so it comes with the set. So it's an item that comes with your chess pieces, and it's about the pieces that you have. Right.
Okay. Cool. So I know you guys are based in the UK, so one of the things that's always going to be difficult is distributing things worldwide, and where you decide which territories you release things. One of my co-hosts on Transmissions is in Canada, and he kind of he sometimes grumbles about the exorbitant shipping costs for things to Canada from the US. For things based in the US, they kind of sometimes get a little left out in the cold. So I wanted to, because I know, Chris, you mentioned that making sure that is a priority to get this distributed into as many places as possible. So what was were there challenges in getting that done, and are you happy that you're able to get it to as wide an audience as possible?
Yeah, I like that. This is a little bit like the alley-oop. You've sort of set me up for this, because I've spoken to you a little bit about this off camera before. Well, on camera, I guess, but no one else saw it. But yeah, what had happened was I was well aware of the fact. Well, to be honest, I thought you were all Canadian, so apologies there. This is terrible. It's okay because we're in the UK. Everyone will think that I'm British as well, but I'm Australian. So, we get confused all the time. But anyway, I was sure that you guys were Canadian, and I was like, right, okay, I'm going to talk to you, and I know there's so many Canadian Transformers fans anyway. For me, it was a priority to make sure it was available there. And we've always had trouble sort of traditionally in sending a lot of the Eaglemoss stuff to Canada. So there's a lot of things that aren't available there. And I was really quite adamant on the Kickstarter of like, hey, we need to make sure that this is going to be available to ship to Canada. And so it was genuinely with you guys in mind, first of all, and then everybody else that's in Canada. It was the goal to make it, one of the options. And so we got there, but it was TransMissions. It was the instigator and the reason for that happening. And I say that with no shadow of a lie. That's actually what it was. And I think Rich is even on the emails where I said, look, it must happen for this reason. And so what we've done is we've got for the US and the UK, which are sort of our two dominant markets, we're doing free shipping. And then we've got a flat rate $35 shipping on top of that for all the other territories we're going to, including Canada. And if you get an idea from just one of those pieces of the heft of it, imagine that times 32 with boxing, a book, the board. It's going to be a big, heavy box, but it's just a nice flat rate shipping. So, there's no great surprises or scares at the end of the campaign. The scare is all up front. If you're prepared to back this thing, the shipping is not going to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, this whole set is basically about the cost of a Unicron. So if folks were able to get the Unicron funded a couple of years ago, I'm hopeful that it can be done again here with this chess set. I think this is a nice premium. I mean, the fact that all the pieces are hand painted and handcrafted, I think it's a really cool bit of Transformers merchandise. So I hope you guys are successful.
So do we. We really want to see it happen. It is a passion project. So even if we had walked away a little from Transformers over the years, the passion was still there, and it's been reignited by all this.
Awesome. And so I did notice you have a couple of alternate kings. You have the Rodimus Prime and Galvatron kings, and those can be for folks who want those. You get an additional couple of figures for the higher Kickstarter backing. So how are those coming along? Do you already have prototypes of those, or I think that they've just shown the renders or the render of Galvatron on the Kickstarter page, but how are those guys coming?
Yeah, so at the moment we've only got the renders available, the grey renders that are on the Kickstarter for both Galvatron and Rodimus Prime. They're sculpted. They've been approved by Hasbro. So the next step for us is we get them 3D printed, and often with our factories that we work with, and then we'll get them sent to us, and we hand paint them. We have a very good company in the UK who hand paint all of our figurines to start with, so that we have a master copy before that goes back to our factories where they're hand painted en masse. So it's sort of that process takes a bit of time. So I don't have any here at all, actually. Sometimes I have some of the blank 3D printouts, but for those two, we're sort of a little bit behind on those. We should be getting them in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll be able to update the Kickstarter page with something before the end of the campaign. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a nice touch for celebrating also the 35th anniversary of Transformers the movie. So it's nice to have that those alternate kings available for the set. So that's very cool that you thought of that.
And just, I guess, as a little tease, I can't say too much, but we are hoping to add in a stretch goal, or at least to add in something perhaps extra along the way that might throw in another piece that would certainly make sense, given that, if you end up with Rodimus Prime as your king, perhaps then one of the other pieces sort of becomes redundant because of that. So it might be worth having a swap out. So if I can tease at that is something we could do as well.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't quite make sense to have Hot Rod and Rodimus Prime on the board at the same time, maybe. But I don't know. You could have
Yeah.
time hopping dimensional things. I don't know. Things could happen.
I mean, some people really like the idea of having them both on there, so they're on board. But for us, it was sort of we did consider another option.
Yeah. Well, cool. So, where can people go to check out this stuff and back the Kickstarter page?
So obviously, if you go to Kickstarter and just search for Transformers Chess, you'll find it. But we did set up a very handy URL, which is herocollector.com/Transformers Chess, and that will take you to the Kickstarter page. So as long as you type in herocollector.com/Transformers Chess, you will be right there. And we're really hoping people will go and back it because we want to make it. So it's not that we don't want to. It's just we need to know there's enough of you that are on board with us as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Although a very small part of me is like, well, if no one backs this, guess who gets the only set?
I guess that's a nice consolation prize, but we hope it gets backed.
No, it absolutely should. Yeah. You don't want me to be the only person having these. I promise you, they're really nice. Yeah.
All right, we'll have a link in the YouTube description and also in our show notes. So this podcast will go up on our YouTube page and be in our in one of our audio downloads, so everyone can hear it and find out and hopefully get interested. So thanks guys for joining us. And before we wrap up, we do have a little tradition we do on Transmissions for any guests we interview, where we give them a rapid fire question test at the end of the interview. So if you'll indulge me for just a couple more minutes, I'll give you the rapid fire test. And this also the prize for this test is that you can come back on Transmissions anytime, and you don't have to do the test again. So you do it once the first time you're on, and then you can come back any other time as a guest host or just to hang out. So as long as you're truthful in all the answers.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we fail, it's not on purpose. I promise you, we would actually like to come back. So I'll add that caveat. Also, I've just realized I should have totally put my name as Little C, because that would be something fun as well. I wasn't thinking, so I apologize.
No problem. All right, let's jump into the rapid fire questions, and there truly are no wrong answers. So just whatever the first thing that comes to your mind, let us know. So I'll ask these questions, and you can both answer one after the other. Okay, first question: Autobot or Decepticon?
Autobot.
And who is your favorite Autobot? Both of you.
It's so boring. Wow, actually, no, it's not that boring. I was going to say it's Optimus Prime, but no, it's not. It's Cup.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, good one. Hot Rod for me, I think.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, he's a good one. I mean, he go ahead. Yeah.
He's. I mean, I know. Not until the movie. I think it's because as a kid, the movie was the thing that sort of defined a lot of my childhood, and very sad Optimus, disappears, passes on. But Hot Rod was kind of cool. Maybe a little bit too sort of colorful and brash. But I like Hot Rod.
Yeah.
I just love the moment when he turns Rodimus Prime. I mean, that's the truth of the matter is when the classic movie moment opening there and the Matrix and the music coming on, and I'm a big sucker for those sort of power ballads of the 80s, and yeah.
All right, Transformers live action movie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or Bumblebee?
Bumblebee. If I had to pick one.
Bumblebee. I'm not.
All right.
Yeah, Bumblebee.
Yeah, we specifically exclude the 86 movie from this one to make it harder. All right, comics. More Than Meets the Eye / Lost Light, Robots in Disguise / Optimus Prime, Till All Are One, or the most recent reboot Transformers that started in 2019, if you read any of the comics.
More Than Meets the Eye for me, but You didn't mention it. I guess it's miniseries. My favorite thing is Nick Roach's Wreckers Saga.
Yes,
That
Last Stand of the Wreckers. Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah, those 2 series of that are great. I could handle more of them.
Yeah, more than meets the eye for me, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, third-party toys, yes or no?
Yes. Just it. Yeah.
Do we count as third-party toys, like in figurines? Or
kind of. I mean, I guess you would say be second party technically.
Second party. Okay. So we're fine. Because I would say because otherwise I was going to say no, just first party. But then if I'm excluding us, then absolutely, definitely third party is the best. It's if we're it, yeah.
All right.
Second party is an agreement for sure.
Yeah. That makes more sense. Yeah.
All right. Cats or dogs?
Oh, cats. My cat's wandering around here somewhere. I keep worrying he's going to jump up in front of the screen.
Dogs for me. Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee all day long.
Yeah, coffee. Yeah.
Chicken or steak?
Steak.
Well, I'm a veggie, so that's quite recent. So if before that, I would have gone chicken.
Okay.
So.
You can also, if neither of the answers, if you don't like either of the answers, you can supply your own. That's also okay.
Okay.
So then, is it Quorn or Linda McCartney's? Which one's the better veg?
Yeah, no, I think it's the meat-free. What I have to have a look at what I don't know what the brand is, but there's like a meat-free mountain or something like that. That's the best sort of veggie burgers that I think.
Yeah. Moving Mountain.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, there we go. We've just gone on a separate topic.
Yeah. Sorry.
No problem. All right. Pepsi or Coke?
Dr. Pepper.
Oh, okay.
Coke. Definitely Coke.
All right. Burger King or McDonald's or any other fast food that you like?
I don't eat a lot of fast food, actually. But if I do, yeah, McDonald's. I guess if I'm in the US, though, Taco Bell.
Okay.
I'll go Burger King. They do a good veggie burger, so that's a priority for me now.
Cool. History or science?
All right, history for me.
Science all the way. Science nerd here. Yeah.
Video games, Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo Switch?
I have all three, but I do preference my Xbox.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, Xbox. Yeah.
All right. PC or Mac?
I'm split on this. Like my work computer is a Mac, and that's what I'm on now. But I used to be PC all the way. I just find Macs easier these days.
Yeah, Mac for me. That's what we work on. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. iPhone or Android?
Oh, iPhone. It goes with my Mac, obviously.
You'd think that'd be true, but I'm Android now. So yeah, Android.
Oh, all right. Is there a phone app that you can't live without?
Yeah, I probably it's just the Notes app that is already, on the iPhone that comes with it. But that's the one. Yeah, I end up making a lot of notes for myself just in there, whether it be, oh, I'm missing these issues of this comic, or here's what I've got to do today, or budgets or whatever. Yeah, that one I end up being in way more than I would have thought I would. Yeah.
It's a little bit sad for me, but at the moment, still Pokemon Go. I'll choose Pokemon Go. Yeah.
Cool.
That's followed me from my iPhone to my Android, so it must be one I like. Yeah.
Marvel or DC?
Oh, Oh,
I'll be careful, Chris. You're our PR guy, and we have DC and Marvel licenses.
no, this is just so hard. I've never been able to pick like a side, essentially, because I think at the moment I'm reading more DC titles, but 12 months ago I was reading more Marvel ones, so it really alternates. And if I look at the sort of graphic novels on my shelf as well, it's kind of, I've got a whole bunch of Marvel Epic collections, then a whole bunch of vintage DC and Batman. I can't separate them. I keep trying to go, oh, I'm one of these or the other, and I'm not. I'm a comic guy.
I'm just
fair.
Marvel.
That could be okay.
Just straight up Marvel. Always been since I was a kid. Marvel. I love DC, but Marvel always wins. Yeah.
And a favorite Marvel or DC character?
Traditionally, it's always been Superman. Controversially, I feel like there's very few people that can write a good Superman, so there's not that many good Superman comics. For me, kind of the old school ones work the best. But since I was 4 years old, I was dressing up as Superman as a kid. I used to get like a tea towel that you would wash the dishes with and pin it on the back of my t-shirt and create an S on it. And eventually I got a proper Superman outfit, and Superman.
Cool. I guess a little bit cliche nowadays, but I've always been a big Wolverine fan. I loved Wolverine in the 90s. I mean, the X-Men animation from the 90s with the Wolverine claws and it gets me every time still.
Best there is at what he does.
Yep. And what he does ain't pretty, bub.
Stallone or Schwarzenegger?
I gotta go with Arnie. Yeah, I don't know how much I like Governor Arnie, but if we're just talking the actor, and I mean Arnie all the way.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger, Arnie, 100%. Again, perfect movies from childhood. Although I'm not sure you're supposed to watch The Predator and Terminator when you're a kid, but you can't go wrong. They're brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pixar or DreamWorks?
I'd actually say DreamWorks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd go Pixar. Yeah, for me.
Is there a guilty pleasure movie that you'll always watch whenever it's on? Like if you're flipping through cable and this is on, you'll just stop and watch.
I don't have any guilty pleasures. I don't feel guilty for like any of that kind of it's all good, but I don't know. I'm just trying to think. So in terms of a movie that other people think I should feel guilty about, maybe something like Night at the Roxbury.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess I don't know if it would count as a guilty pleasure, but Spaceballs the movie. Just I if that's on anytime I watch it, I think I love it more than Star Wars. I think I love the parody more than the original. I think I saw it before Star Wars when I was a kid, so didn't understand why Star Wars was so serious when this other one I'd seen was so jokey. But yeah, Spaceballs definitely.
And Spaceballs. Spaceballs has a few Transformers references in there too.
It does indeed. Yeah.
All right, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Now this is hilarious because of course we do all the Star Trek shit, and it's terrible. Again, it's almost the Marvel DC thing, but not quite. I will split the difference here, but I grew up on both 100%. Loved original Trek since I was a kid, and saw reruns of that when I was little. But the first movie I remember seeing at the cinema was Star Wars. I remember seeing the posters and going, "Dad, take me to see that." I was very, very small, and I did. So Star Wars will always edge it out for me. It's just, the association's just that little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm going Star Trek.
All right, okay. And animation, Simpsons, Family Guy, or Rick and Morty?
Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you guys are old school.
Yeah, I mean, this is the love of previous Simpsons. Go seasons, 1 to 9.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore, but they're forever in my heart. They're never
Yeah.
going to leave.
1 to 9 are the ones I have on DVD, and then it stops there pretty much. But more than Simpsons, even Futurama.
Oh yeah,
But
that's a good one too.
It's the Matt Groening stuff.
Yeah. Walking Dead or Game of Thrones?
Walking Dead. I mean, I started reading the comics when they were coming out, and then started on the show. I stopped on the show, around about the time when, spoilers, they killed Glenn, as they had done in the comics as well. But the comics, they're getting me to buy them again now. They're doing colorized versions, and I'm still enjoying rereading that. So Walking Dead.
I'm going to go Game of Thrones. Mostly for the books that will never be finished. Spoilers for everyone else; they'll never be finished. But the books. I love the books.
Yeah, I love the books too, and the realization that they'll never be finished is a tough one.
Well, won't they do the same sort of thing as they did, where you have a Brandon Sanderson character come in and actually end up writing the rest of them after George has gone, and maybe take years about it? I presume there must be some clause in there that will happen.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. I don't have a lot. I mean, I get the feeling that Robert Jordan had copious notes and planned things out a bit, and George R.R. Martin, I mean, he said he's not really a planner, so I don't know what state his notes are in.
Yeah, I guess as long as they don't use the show for the basis of how they want to finish things off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sports, and apologies. This is American sports centric, but we do have some other stuff in here. NFL, Major League Baseball, National Hockey League, Ultimate Fighting Championship, National Basketball Association, or Premier League.
Okay, so NBA, I guess, because again, growing up, that was what I used to watch on TV. We'd get that most in Australia, and you would have sort of Friday and Saturday night late night games on TV we could watch. But in terms of actually being there, weirdly, I love baseball. So I've been, and I've seen more baseball games, in person than anything, actually.
Oh, cool.
I'm going NFL. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Taking the Premier League out, but because that's not fair. Let's throw that one out because I'm British, so I should choose that one automatically. American sports. I love NFL. I love American football. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Volkswagen Beetle?
Okay, so Ferrari, because it was always the car I wanted to own when I was a kid. But the car I actually wanted to own even more was a DeLorean. And that is not to plug the fact that we've made one, but it's purely the DeLorean was always my favorite car. And I used to conspire of ways to be able to get one. And so when they'd gone out of business and it was like they're not making them anymore, I thought it's never going to happen. And it hasn't. I don't have a DeLorean.
I'm going Porsche.
Yeah. All right. It's probably hard to get the flux capacitor attachment with the DeLorean too. So.
Yeah. None of this is ever going to happen. Yeah, we don't make that kind of money.
All right. Final question: blonde, brunette, or redhead?
Brunette. Even though I was about to say that's what I am. That's what I was.
I'll go redhead.
All right. And that you have successfully made it through the gauntlet. Congratulations.
Did we pass? Were they passing grades?
Yeah, yes, you passed. You did pass.
Yeah. C-. Just barely.
All right. Thanks, guys. Again, very huge thanks to Richard Jackson and Chris Thompson of Hero Collector. Thank you guys for coming on. Everyone check out the Transformers G1 chess set Kickstarter. That is at herocollector.com/Transformers chess. And yeah, definitely check it out. And if you're interested, definitely back it. It's got about another month to go before the Kickstarter ends. So you've got plenty of time to do it. So yeah, check it out. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And from little C to big C, thank you.
Our pleasure. Thanks for coming on. And everyone out there, thanks for watching and listening to the Transmissions podcast. Of course, we do a weekly podcast all about Transformers toys and merchandise and Transformers comics and media. So we do 2 shows every week. So if you haven't seen us before, you can check that out. We're at transmissionspodcast.com. And we do our videos on our YouTube channel. So you might be watching it there, or if you're listening to this on our podcast feed, either way. Thanks, everyone, for checking it out. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.